This year's March Madness has been very strange. There's been a lack of chaos. Yes, now you might say, what about Oakland? What about Yale? What about NC State? I'll get to all of that, but numbers don't lie. In this video, I'll give the full explanation to why the 2024 NCAA Tournament has been so weird. Stick around to the end, you guys are going to love this one. This is just the 5th time since 1979 that every number 1 and number 2 seed has made the Sweet 16. 1989, 1995, 2009, 2019, and 2024. Unfortunately, this is very hard for some March Madness fans to take, as we were spoiled last year in 2023, and I'll give you guys a quick refresher of what went down. Last year's Final Four was unlike any other. A bracket-busting combination with no team seeded better than number 4 for the first time since the bracket expanded in 1979. After the first weekend, the same exact point where we are now, 2 number 1 seeds went down. Kansas lost to Arkansas in the round of 32, and of course, we can't forget about number 1 seeded Purdue getting stunned by a 16-seeded FDU team that didn't even win their conference tournament, possibly the greatest upset of all time. The next 2 1 seeds, Houston and Alabama, went down just a few days later in the Sweet 16, and we saw an Elite 8 with 0 1 seeds. The Final Four consisted of 2 mid-major teams, a 9-seeded FAU that came out of nowhere and hadn't made the tournament since 2002, and San Diego State, a 5 seed out of the Mountain West. To finish it off, we had another 5 seed, Miami, and then also a 4-seeded UConn that had a legendary run, destroying every team that they faced, killing the Cinderellas, and winning their 3rd national title in 15 years. So maybe, just maybe, we were set up to fail in 2024 because so many of us fans had our hopes so high after the pandemonium that ensued in 2023. Even the March Madness social media team had to make posts about it. I'll throw them up on screen. Now let's get this straight. There's nothing wrong with chalk. Cinderella stories are awesome, but seeing the highest level teams with elite NBA talent on the floor is fun as well. We're set up to see some thrilling matchups in the next few weeks, but why has everything seemed to come down to chalk so far? The first reason is because there's a large skill gap between the elite teams and the rest of the field this year. It's highlighted with Houston and UConn being seen as so far ahead of the pack all year long, and the efficiency numbers totally back this up. The next reason cannot be measured. It's subjective, but I'm sure a lot of people would agree. Let me know in the comments. After top teams like 2-seeded Arizona lost to number 15-seeded Princeton in 2023, and of course the Purdue loss that I already mentioned, teams and coaches are on high alert this year, especially in the early rounds. Also, the teams that did lose are out for revenge, as we've seen before. Remember when number 1 overall seed Virginia lost in the first round against UMBC in 2018, the first time that ever happened? Well, guess what they did in the following season? Yep, you guessed it. They won the national title. For teams like Arizona and Purdue in 2024, we could be possibly seeing the Virginia effect. In the round of 32 game between Purdue and Utah State last weekend, the Boilermakers won by a 39-point margin, the 2nd largest margin of victory in the round of 32 since 1999. Is this hurting the tournament like some people are saying? Absolutely not. Last Thursday's first round coverage averaged 8.5 million viewers, the most watched first day of the tournament since 2015. Just 2 days later on Saturday, we saw the most watched second round day 1 ever. And according to numbers through the second round, on average, 2024 is the most watched NCAA men's tournament of all time. Now here's the spin. For all of you people that love upsets and underdogs, there's still a chance. First, NC State is an amazing story, the only double-digit seed left still in the field at number 11. They won 5 straight games in the ACC tourney to even get a spot in the big dance. Then they went on to beat a 6-seeded Texas Tech team and number 14 Oakland. At some points in the regular season, they looked dead in the water, and now they have a chance to do the impossible. They play number 2 Marquette this weekend, and if they win, they'll play in the regional final against either Houston or Duke. The next fun team we have to root for is number 6-seeded Clemson, who beat number 11-seeded New Mexico in the round of 64, which felt like an upset because everyone was picking UNM. I am serious. New Mexico was favored by 2 points in the game. It was the most popular 11-over-6 upset, and many people had the Lobos going far. Clemson rode with that underdog mentality into the next game, where they defeated Baylor 72-64 to advance to their 2nd Sweet 16 since 1997. They play the Arizona Wildcats in their next game, and if they move on, They'll face the winner of North Carolina and Alabama. Clemson has never reached a Final Four, and there's also 3 other teams still in the field who haven't either. Number 2 seeded Tennessee, number 3 seeded Creighton, and number 4 seeded Alabama. There's also teams who have made the Final Four, but have never achieved the coveted trophy, such as Gonzaga, Houston, Illinois, Iowa State, Purdue, and San Diego State. But even if NC State doesn't make the Final Four as a double-digit Cinderella, or any of the teams I just listed don't make history for their schools, and UConn ends up dominating for a second straight year, you can count on one thing: Saturday Shenanigans will be there to make a video about it. Thank you guys so much for reaching the end of the video. Go leave in the comments how you feel about 2024 March Madness. How's your bracket doing? If you enjoy this kind of content, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. I've been Saturday Shenanigans, and I'll see you guys soon.